I'm the director of the Austin Comedy Film Festival. Coming up, we have Austin Comedy Film Festival Fall 2022 at the Austin Film Society Cinema in early November, and we are excited for this festival. We screen all kinds of comedy films. The intent is to make you laugh, whether it's dark comedy, sketch comedy, a fun music video, a comedy series episode, a dark comedy film, horror comedy film, you name it. The whole intent is to make you laugh with content that is 30 minutes or less per submission. And we have a full day of films. And one of the reasons is because we got a director that's so good. He's got 2 films in this festival. So we appreciate that. Josh Sullivan, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. So glad to be here. Thanks for having me, Michael.
Yeah, congrats. You know, it's you to have this much work. And first we'll talk about Silly Girl, which is nominated for the best romantic comedy film. Good job on this one. You're making the judges look good, and we appreciate you sending us good content.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're really, really excited to be a part. So thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, no worries. So let's run it down for a minute. I don't want to give away the synopsis of your film. So Silly Girl, what's that one about?
So it's basically about this tween kid who has decided she wants to try to get her dad back into the dating game. And in order to do that, she comes up with the idea of creating an Instagram for their newest family member, which happens to be a golden doodle puppy named Silly. So that's where the name Silly Girl comes from, is named after the puppy.
Yeah. Okay. And why did you create this one? Why Silly Girl?
So I was working on another project, which is the other film that we are going to be in your festival with, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But I was just kind of in the groove of creating. It was during the pandemic. I had cast this young actress, Alessandra Rosenfeld, for the other project and started to work with her in preparation for the other film, and just realized like what a great talent I had on my hands. About that same time, I had decided, like everybody else, to get a puppy during the pandemic because I had really nothing else to do, you know, just trying to keep myself from going insane. And I was thinking about doing sort of a very meta story about, a single guy who gets a dog. He's trying to find love. He takes the dog to the park, starts to sort of, organically meet all these people. And but when I was working with Alessandra and rehearsing for this other project, I thought, maybe I should consider the angle of casting her and have it be a story about a daughter who's sort of driving the narrative, and she's trying to get her dad, over his divorce and back into the dating game. So I kept developing the story and, sort of started to go that angle. Actually kind of workshopped quite a few of the scenes from the script with Alessandra, just to find, her, my character, and just kind of like where we wanted to take the story. And so it was a really cool process, kind of unique way of writing and finding the story.
All right. From a technical perspective, and you mentioned COVID a little bit, and
Yeah.
that was obviously a time where we had challenges. What did you learn in this production from beginning to end? Do you have any recollection of anything you might be taking on to a future production? What did you learn?
Yeah, well, I'm really into interior design. I feel like I have a lot of different experiences that I'm not able to use in the filmmaking process. But from my first project, I brought on to this second project of Silly Girl the same hair and makeup person, and she had recommended a friend of hers who does production design and costumes. And so I had a phone conversation with this lady, and she was really loving the script. She loved the idea, and she really wanted to be a part. But I was a little hesitant to bring another person on because it's considering someone else's opinions and point of view and everything. But I just took a little bit of a risk, and not that I didn't trust her talent. It was just sort of trying to decide if I wanted to expand the team in that way or not. And she just really delivered in spades. I mean, she just killed it on production design, completely transformed my apartment. She did an amazing job on the costumes or wardrobe. And I think it was just it was a good learning experience about allowing other people in and allowing their talents to shine, because it really elevated the whole project. And I've had so much, good feedback and compliments on her work. So, that was something that I really am taking forward, and it was a good lesson to learn. So.
Yeah, very interesting. Very interesting stuff. Let's switch gears for a little bit and let's talk about pro bono means free, which has to qualify for one of the best comedy titles I've seen in a while.
Thank you.
But nominated for best comedy series episode. I like it. So please tell us about that one.
Yeah, so this one, it actually was a proof of concept that I drew from a pilot that I had written. And the pilot had placed as a finalist in a rather large screenwriting fellowship. And I just kind of had it on my mind. This was a couple years ago, and I just had it kind of on my mind. I wanted to try and shoot that pilot. And then, kind of in July of 2020, during sort of the height of the pandemic, or the beginning, height of the pandemic, I went to visit my family, and I had seen like 4 people I knew in like 4 months, and I was just going crazy. So I went, visited my family, and that's kind of when I got the idea that I was going to get a puppy as well. So when I came back, I was like, I got to do something. I got to do something to keep my mind moving. So I basically wrote a completely new script, the same characters, the same concept and premise from that pilot, but I wrote a shorter version of it so we could shoot it, a little bit more easily. And yeah, we shot that in October of 2020, and just really, everybody was really excited about having something to do, and just being able to tap into their craft after doing nothing for 6 months or so. So yeah, it was cool to see that come to life after sort of living with that project for quite a few years. And that's actually where I discovered Alessandra, because she played the niece to the lead character in that film. So yeah.
All right. And give me an idea of just anything you learned technically on that one as well, like from front to back.
Yeah, so I'm a big proponent of just asking for what you want, not being afraid to ask. So, we needed a really nice looking office space for the majority of, the shoot. And I had seen this therapist before the pandemic, and I reached out to him just to see if he would let us use his office, because it was nice and well decorated and things like that. But it was like a shared space. He really didn't have the authority to let me use it. But he turned me on to this site, kind of like a Craigslist for psychologists and a therapist, where they list their space if they have like an extra room or something they want to rent out to someone else. So anyway, I contacted several places on there, and one place, which wasn't even, I mean, it was nice, but it wasn't even the like most well decorated of the choices, wanted to charge $5,000 for a setup day, $5,000 for a teardown day, and $10,000 for a shoot day. And I was like, I appreciate you thinking that I have a Netflix budget, but I don't. I don't. So I had 2 different other therapists that I was talking to over email, and I just kept going back and forth with them, and kind of telling them more and more about the project. Not overselling it, but just trying to highlight why it might be something they would be interested in getting behind. And finally, I got to the point with the one therapist that I really wanted to use her office. I mean, the pictures on her website, it was just stunning. And I just asked, I just said, look, this is what we're doing. This is a very self-funded independent project. What do you need from us in order to be able to use your space? And she said nothing. And she didn't charge us anything. And it was like, I mean, I was like, wow, this is a big win. And so we literally went in there. We moved a couple things around just for the right angles and the right composition and stuff of the shot. But it was just it was a real good lesson in like not being afraid to ask for the home run, because you never know, you might get it. So
That's beyond a big win. That's like, that's a huge
I did
blessing
take
for
her
you.
some flowers and some other things, just little thank yous and stuff like that. But yeah, she was so accommodating, and we got to worked really well with their schedule because we got to shoot on a weekend when they didn't have therapists in the building and clients and stuff. So it was a really it turned out really really well for us, and it was a real win for sure.
Nice. Well, what else are you working on in the future? Like you obviously do a lot of production. I'm sure you got something else lined up. What's next for you?
So I have a new short that I'm planning to shoot in the spring. I was thinking we were going to shoot it this fall, but we kind of unexpectedly got really busy with getting into some festivals, including yours, of course, and it kind of delayed my availability and my focus to go into hardcore pre-production. So the plan is to shoot that in the spring, early spring. So just finalizing up that script, starting to put out feelers for other actors and production crew and things like that, and then also kind of been asked to look at Silly Girl and develop it into a feature. So
Oh, wow.
kind of considering what that story could look like, which that was another thing too, is sort of a technical thing, I guess, that I realized while we were shooting it, and kind of like in the days before and stuff, is that it just felt like the first act of a feature, versus just being a short in its entirety. So that was kind of a learning experience too. Like, you never know where a story might kind of grow to, and just be open to that. So,
Okay. Well, you
so
know
we're
what?
some ideas for a feature for Silly Girl too. Also, not too.
Wow. Well, most people, they do short films in order to showcase their abilities to be able to do feature films. But, to get the opportunity to take that as like a proof of concept and take it to the feature level,
Right.
Testament to your crew. Your production value is very high. Your acting is very good. Everything you got. It's no surprise that you're doing this well on the film festival circuit. And we just appreciate the opportunity to screen this stuff at our festival. So
yeah,
thank you very much.
Thank you to the judges and all of your team. We're just really honored to be a part. And this is our first festival for Pro Bono Means Free. So we're just really, we just feeling the love and hope we find our comedy audience with all your attendees and everything. So we're really appreciating all the love you guys have been showing us. So
thank you for the kind words. You're gonna make us look good out there. So hey, we appreciate it. Thanks for coming on with me, and have a great day.
Great. Thanks, Michael. You too.